Hello again and welcome to Primetime Muscle. I hope you're having a great day. And I am Tim Wilkins, as always, joined by super promoter and IFBB pro judge Derek Lunsford and Hall of Fame bodybuilder and Gucci man.
Gucci.
Chris Cormier, the real deal. Chris.
What up, baby?
Happy Casual Friday. You're looking money.
You know, I just have to do a little something different. You know, you guys handle it with the tie and the business. So you guys got that, but I got the swag. So they let me swag it out a little bit. You know, I talked to the higher ups. And I got the go-ahead, so
you know,
they unleashed me.
Gucci getting a lot of returns today, knowing you wear their stuff. Gucci's going to have a long day at customer service. Got a huge line at customer service today, returning items.
All right,
just letting you know.
Gucci, if you want to sponsor Chris, slide into his DMs.
Slide in that DM.
Slide into Chris's DMs, right behind Chanel and Louis. It's going to be a long list. All right, speaking of a long list, we've had a long list of amazing venues for the Mr. Olympia competition. This year at the Zappos Theatre at the Planet Hollywood, December 15th through the 18th. We are potentially looking at, and you've been out to actually see this, the most beautiful venue, the most perfect venue for the Olympia we've ever had.
You are absolutely right. Quote me right now, mark my words right now. In the history of bodybuilding, we've never had a venue like the Zappos Theatre. When that place is packed, and you have the first call out of bodybuilding, it will be a moment we've never seen before. The place is designed for Jennifer Lopez to perform. It's acoustically perfect. It's just like the top of the food chain in terms of concerts and events. And when you're going to have that first call out, guys, I mean, I'm a judge. I'm going to get my ticket, but I would be buying a ticket if it was $5,000 to get in there.
Now, Chris, what was your favorite venue? As we compare the venues over the years, what was your favorite venue?
Well, my first competition, Mr. Olympia, we were in Atlanta, which was good. You know, we would sit there, you know, in the host hotel right there, but it wasn't far to get to the venue. That was a good one. Also in Chicago, 96, that was a good one also, but we had to take a cab. I remember standing in a long line to get the cab to get there. This is it's probably going to be a little different. I was also, you know, at the Mandalay Bay. That was a good one just because we would come down from the rooms, meet at a certain time, going over to the venue together. Everything was in one house. That was a good one. It was almost like, you know, that's where they had a lot of competitions, boxing matches and everything in that same area. So it was good, but I'm sure this is, you know, a higher up from that just because, you know, the sound probably going to be a different quality.
Mandalay was a little cavernous. I was the onstage MC for a few years for the Olympia at the Mandalay. Right. It was a little cavernous. It was big. I think we had 12 or 15,000 people we could fit in that place. What's the capacity at this one?
I think 9,000 at the Zappos Theatre, and it's going to be incredible. Like Chris said, the convenience, you stayed at Planet Hollywood. The convention is going to be at the Venetian. You can just walk there. It's on the Strip. I think this is going to be a Mr. Olympia for the ages. Not only the competitors are exciting, but the venue is the greatest ever.
Now, Tim Gardner is doing the expo as he has over the last couple of years. The first year when we, in the middle of the night, had to go from Las Vegas to Orlando, he still managed to put together an expo, but with 2 years to build it, this thing is massive Arnold Expo quality with multiple sports or multiple disciplines. Exhibitors, the exhibitor spaces are going fast. We're going to have all the best supplement companies in the world. So that's going to be phenomenal. But having that in one spot, that's a very important thing because over the years, we have struggled with getting on buses and getting fans from an expo to a show to back and forth. This is a great spot, not just a beautiful stage and a beautiful venue, but a beautiful spot to have everything right by each other.
Yeah, what is the Terry? What is the the backstage like? What is that?
So the backstage is not the biggest. It's enough for all the competitors to be there, but you're not gonna have a quinceañera there. You're not gonna have, the nephew of one of the competitors there to take a picture. It's a professional backstage where you have great artists go there, and a lot of times they want to have a little bit of privacy. So it's not one of the Orleans backstage would be bigger, but this is a lot more professional in terms of rooms where you can do makeup for the women, hair. The tanning is going to be very private. The pay-per-view section is going to be very exclusive. The place is top notch. It is, I've had a chance to go to Madison Square Garden. I've had a chance to go to some, the Hollywood Bowl, and this is on another level.
Those places like the Orlando Convention Center can be a little cavernous and a little warehousey. This is more of a stage and a concert venue. Dan Solomon was very proud of the fact that the last couple of years in Orlando, we've had the biggest stage, which is phenomenal for the competitors, but especially for fitness, to give them the most dynamic routines, the ability to get that running start for those multiple flips. What is it like compared to that in that venue?
So, I think what they did in Orlando, the entire team, Jake Wood, Dan Solomon, Tamer Ogindi, Tim Gardner, they made those events in Orlando formidable. Because when you go into a ballroom, and it was a large ballroom, you have a lot of width. And you need to fill up, otherwise it looks like a small stage. And that's what they did. They really expanded and made it look majestic. The difference between the Zappos Theatre, it's an arena designed for performing. So you're going to be looking a little bit down. It's inclined, and everything circles around. You can just feel the energy and the acoustic there. I know for a fact, I don't know who's going to win. I don't know who's going to show up. I know for a fact, when the Mr. Olympia 2022 is done, every single one of us will be saying this is the greatest Olympia venue ever.
Wow. So that comes down to, as you as a competitor, you're up there, biggest moment of your career maybe. I would imagine every Olympia was a big moment. How much of that energy are you feeling, and how much crowd can you see? Or does it even matter? You're just up there in a magical place. What's it like up there?
Yes, you could see, Tim, you could see, the upper level, the upper deck. I used to always like to point to the guys in the cheaper seats, and from the left and to the right. But I used to like try to bring the crowd into my performance, and just kind of connect with them around the venue. You could see, pretty well, but it's like that's what you want to do as a competitor. You want to draw the whole crowd, into your performance, get everybody excited and enthusiastic about what you're doing on the stage.
So this is a good theater to draw. From what I hear, everybody loves to say this about their theater, not a bad seat in the house.
Exactly, that's precise. I think the expression comes from events like this. And, I think it's going to be a great show. For the judges, I know where we're going to be sitting. We're going to have a very close look at the athletes. I'm going to be as close as possible. We've never been so close. For an MC, and then Bob is emceeing the show. Is Bob emceeing the show confirmed?
I have heard that Chickarello will be back as the voice of bodybuilding.
There's rivalries going around bodybuilding. I don't know if you're going to MC.
I'm not involved in that.
I don't know. I heard Billy Garden from Ireland might be emceeing. There's some rivalries going on in the MC.
Lucky the Irish.
You don't even need the press conference athlete against athlete. You can just get these guys that hate each other. You and Bob don't like each other for years, right?
See, this is a lunch conversation that did not happen. Bob has been, I will say this, Bob has been so good to me over the years in calling me, hey brother, I can't do this show, do you want it? It's in Montana, and I know Bob doesn't want to go to Montana or wherever it is, but I appreciate him calling me first. I don't know, maybe he got to the W's, but he still called me. Maybe he got to the M's and went, no, it's called Wilkins. I don't know, I don't care. He called and it was incredibly nice. He didn't take the original gig away from me at the Olympia. That was a Triple H and somebody else. And
Snucky.
Oh,
Snucky.
Oh yeah. But it is nice. It is nice to be at home, not getting paid to do your favorite event of the entire year, and having people from the audience saying, "This is a train wreck. Where are you?" They never say that with Bob, but they have said that a couple other times. Said, "Why are you not here this year?" Which I appreciate.
Bob has a problem with Billy Garden. Billy Garden is this new MC.
Why you put his business out there, man?
He has a problem with this guy, Billy Garden. He doesn't like him. He calls them Billy Brown shoes or something. And I talked to Billy this weekend, and Billy goes, well, listen, I don't have a problem with Bob, but I'll be replacing him soon. I said, oh, hell. Things are going to get testy between these two guys. You know Billy Garden?
Never heard of him.
Well,
Never heard of him.
I guess he's got another enemy right now.
I have nothing against somebody I've never heard of. So, and
I know the guy.
Yeah.
I know him.
What do you think about him?
No, he's been doing his thing. He's grinding. He's been taking care of most of Europe, is what I'm understanding. But yeah, he's been pretty cool.
He's young. He's enthusiastic. Tim has the voice, the presence. Bob Cicherillo. I got to give credit to Bob. Bob Cicherillo is, in my opinion, the greatest master of ceremony in the history of bodybuilding. Bob is not only entertaining, but when a problem happens, Bob can get out of that small issue and make it look good, you know, but he can be an asshole sometimes, but I love him still. You know what I mean? Bob, I love you. You know, you don't make good choice when it comes to water. I'll tell you that right now. But you are the best.
Now, when Bob's not available, look me up, because Billy's a long flight away, and those flights are expensive now.
That's right.
How do we get to this topic? How do we get the Zappos Theatre? We went way right. Bob will be there this year. I don't know that Bob's getting replaced until Bob wants to be replaced.
And let me.
And I'm on the pay-per-view, so if you can't make it to the most beautiful venue in the world ever for the Mr. Olympia, I'll be on the pay-per-view team. And for the open division, I am going to be joined by Phil Heath. This is going to be very cool. We'll probably have Linda Murray back. We had Rich Gaspari. We had Lee Labrada the year before. Rael Graber. We had Mindy O'Brien. We had many people. So we get a lot of great people sitting in on the pay-per-view to add their specific expertise from their division.
Derek, what do you think? Like, how many yards back are you going to be from the?
I'm talking about 15 yards from the competitors. That's it. Real close, perfect view. So the competitors, we're going to see a lot of stuff, Chris, a lot of stuff. So be ready. If you're getting ready for the Mr. Olympia, the judges are going to be up close, looking at your physique. There's no excuse. Get in shape, hit your poses, and win the show. Just the facts, Tim.
You said it, and I was going to repeat it. You want just the facts? You can find all those facts December 15th to the 18th at the Olympia, and it is just the facts from us that this will be the most beautiful Olympia venue to date, maybe ever. So you're going to want to be there to get all the action live, and if you can, of course, the pay-per-view at olympiaproductions.com. December 15th to the 18th, we hope to see you there, and we'll see you when we come back with more Primetime Muscle.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on Trifecta.
All right, we're back, and we're talking about a very special occurrence. We're about 7 to 8 weeks out from the Olympia, and a very special invitation has been bestowed, I think, for lack of a better way of saying it, to our current 212 champ, Derek Lunsford. He has been given that special invite to the Olympia. Guys, what do you think of this?
Tim, I think it's great. I mean, I love it. I've been, when I was in competition, there was always someone that got a special invite. This guy has deserved it, I believe, more so than mostly any other competitor I ever seen at this juncture. He has the body, he has the mindset, and the drive. He's a great guy, great for the sport. I think it's a win-win for everybody.
I think it's exciting for the fans who want to see the best of the best on the Olympia stage in the Open. Right. We've talked about this, guys. Pittsburgh. Big Ramy was not there. Some guys said, hey, let's make this magic. They took off their shirts. Derek was one of those guys. And what was the thought when he took off his shirt at Pittsburgh when they saw how much mass he was carrying?
Well, Tim, Chris and I joke about it because to all the people that say he didn't qualify, he did qualify. He won the Pittsburgh Pro. I mean, he just shocked the world. He looked conditioned. He was massive. And even, I had a chance to go back and watch his posing. He was determined to impress. And he impressed the hell out of everybody. I mean, there's reaction from the crowd saying, whoa, what the heck is that? And I agree with Chris. He deserves it. He's a great champion. He's a 212 champion. He's a former Mr. USA champion. And everybody wants to see what kind of damage he can do in the open. I'm 100% excited, and I think it was a great decision by the executive team of the Mr. Olympia, the executive team of the IFBB Pro League. Their job is to make the sport grow, the sport to be more exciting. We're coming off of 2 years of COVID where we had, uphill battle, and Derek Lunsford is going to be exciting at the Mr. Olympia.
So we've talked about this, and there's a little bit of controversy about getting that special invite versus a traditional qualification. Do you see anything wrong with that? Like you kind of said a minute ago, you saw a lot of people in your era that got invites.
Well, Gunther Scherklamp was the perennial invitee, if you will, and he, Joe loved him. He thought he'd be good for the sport to have him in there. He gave him invite after invite after invite. Okay, so with Derek, I was there in Pittsburgh. I saw the miles drop when he came out.
And he was on there with what? Nick Walker? Who else jumped on stage?
There was Curry Walker. Hunter, yeah. And so he was up there with some of the best. And he not only held his own, I thought the way his structure, the way the muscle insertions of the chest is like half of his body is all pec. And he has the abs, he has, the back of a bicep, the lat spread. I mean, proportionally wise, his body is put together so great that it's like he deserves it. I mean, he was holding his own with everybody.
Now, we talk about weight, because he was conditioned probably at around, 245, 250 there?
They said he was around 258 to 260 on the
So
stage.
we're talking 240-ish now, 7-8 weeks out from the Olympia, and he's really rocking in conditioning. We were all saying, I don't know how he's going to make weight for the 212.
Yeah, and I want to go back to what Chris said about the invitations. He mentions a good point with Gunther. We've had invitations before. They make the sport exciting. When Kevin Levrone got the special invitation, he placed, I think, 15th, but the entire crowd, he played the Creed, which is his traditional song, and even though he didn't have a top 10 placing, it was a really special, great moment for the audience, for the fans, and even for other bodybuilders. I believe other bodybuilders played Creed on that night because they wanted to honor Kevin. Flex Wheeler came back, and it was a nice experience. Cedric had a special invitation. Big Ramy got a special invitation. I don't see any controversy. Let's talk about, the Arnold is all invitations, and the guy who wins the Arnold Amateur gets an invitation, and usually they place last because they're not really prepared, right, to compete against the big guys. But it's a nice tradition. You win and you get that invitation. And listen, if you don't like Derek getting the invitation, you have an option. You can beat him, right? You can go ahead and beat him. I mean, Chris beat Gunther most of the times, right? Did you have a problem with him getting an invitation, Chris?
No, but he did beat me in the symmetry round at that one show that he won. I was upset with that one, but for the most part, I was okay.
Gunther's the only bodybuilder. I saw him about 6-7 weeks out from an Olympia one year. He's the only bodybuilder. You say, all right, what do you weigh right now? What do you plan to weigh on stage? And when someone says they weigh 300, you think, I'm going to be 275, 280 on stage. And Gunther was 6'2". I said, what do you weigh now? 300. What are you going to weigh on stage? 325. I've never heard of anybody putting on 15 to 25 pounds on their way into a show.
Well, he did have that show in Europe, and it was in 2002, GNC Show of Strength.
Correction, Terry. It was New Orleans. I was there. I took third.
And it was the show that he beat Ronnie Coleman, right?
Right, yeah,
It was New Orleans. Thanks for correcting me. Can we edit that? Because I never went.
No.
Correct me again. I'm supposed
Keep
to
it
correct
going,
him,
Belushi. Come on.
So Chris is right, and
Of course.
I am corrected. It was in Louisiana, the event, but he did beat Ronnie Coleman on that year, and that was what triggered Ronnie to just go crazy and come in looking insane in 2003.
He got pissed. He was pissed.
Deservedly so.
He was mad.
So now, no matter what you think of the special invite, and we're all in agreement here that it's great for the sport, it's even better for the fans. Now you think, okay, where do you size up? Where do you end up against the other guys? So guys, well, Chris, we'll start with you.
Hey, well, it's gonna be a tough competition. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I mean, he's gonna have a tough time with someone like Rami or something like that. It's going to be his first time up there in the open class. But I'm thinking, I mean, he can easily be in the top 6 area, easily. And I think he would enjoy that prize money a lot more than he would the 212.
No, we talked about this, though. That prize money is not better than winning the 212. I think 212 tops out at $75,000 and sixth place is around 25.
I know it was 60 before.
Well, Tim, here's the deal. He deserved to win the invitation. He was impressive in Pittsburgh, but at the Mr. Olympia is going to be a different ball game. He could have a different physique, and now he's competing against different guys. There's some pressure. There's some pressure, not only on him, but one of my favorite guys in the industry, Hani Rambod. Now it's time to deliver, right? Now it's time to see where this guy is going to end up. And the fans are excited about it. Everybody's excited about it. And now both of them have to train, diet, nail the conditioning, because Hani has never nailed his conditioning as an open guy, right? So now they got to deliver. There's a little bit of pressure to see what they can do. And I'm excited to see. I think every fan in America is excited to see that. Chris, do you agree there's a little bit of pressure?
Oh, yeah, because in my opinion, he nailed his condition when he won the USA, and he has been lackluster, moving forward. But he has the body, he has the genetics, he has everything he needs. So even him not nailing his condition, he's still been winning competition. He's still been beating a lot of people.
Last year, I think he nailed it. I think that's what put him over the top.
He was a little flat, in my opinion, Timmy.
Well, if you know the history of Derek Lunsford, his best conditioning was when he placed second at the USA's as a middleweight. That was the leanest he's ever been. The following year, he grew tremendously, went to the light heavy, and he not only won his class, but he beat Jacob Wilson and Patrick, who was a super heavy. Right after that, he goes to Tampa. His conditioning gets a little bit better, and he wins his qualification. And, I did a segment on Olympia TV a little bit about his history. Right off the bat, people thought that he could dethrone Flex Lewis. But he placed second to Flex, and he did look good. But then, like Chris said, he had lackluster performances in the following 2 years, where instead of winning the 212, he started falling. And his worst moment was when he placed fourth. And then he got together with Hani, and credit to Hani. Hani has a tradition, a reputation of really nailing the conditioning of the athletes. They went to the 212 title in 2021. Now, you can say that Derek is a phenomenal competitor, genetically gifted, but I would like to see a little bit more of a consistent conditioning throughout the years, like we've seen with Dexter, like we've seen with Flex Lewis, like we've seen with Phil Heath, nailing the conditioning 1 year after another. And we have Big Ramy right now, who has, he's not been consistent with the conditioning, but he still won. But that's a vulnerability that people can attack Big Ramy. And if Derek wants to move up, he better not show up flat or soft or anything. He needs to be conditioned, because these guys are going to be bigger.
Now, I like Derek as a competitor. I like him as a person. I know he's a fighter. So let's go ahead and put you both on record. We have a stacked lineup this year with Brandon. I don't think Bonac is going to come in. He's looking amazing online right now. You got Bonac, you got Hunter, Hadi, Rami, of course. Now you got some other guys popping up. Of course, you got Ian and Nick. You got other guys. You got this Vlad Sarachko that just won.
Yes, he's a Ukrainian competitor. He won in Europe. Impressive, has mass, has conditioning, but I think he needs to pose a lot better to become aesthetically pleasing because he doesn't have a small waist. It's all about posing with this guy.
You've got Blessing. You've got Andrew Jacked. You've got a huge lineup of guys that are already used to being in this weight class. So, Chris, let's put him top 5 or top 10 or just outside the bubble. Where do you put Derek against the guys that we know are qualified?
Well, I'm going to keep him there in the 6th area. I mean, he does need to improve his posing. I mean, that was kind of an eyesore, some of the ways he's hitting some of these shots, utilizing his leg, utilizing his whole body in some of these poses is going to help Derek a lot. So if that happens, he has striations in his quads in Pittsburgh, so I don't see that being an issue, being conditioned.
In his 250s, he had striations.
Yeah, he's going to look really good. It's just that, like I say, when you put together the poses and you go out there against big guys, you got to definitely be able to hit those poses correctly. So I'm going to keep him around that 6th area.
Derek?
I'm not going to speculate about his placing.
I'm going to force you to.
Well, what I'm going to say is this. If he doesn't make top 10, it would be a huge disappointment, I think, for him, Hani, and every fan. I think if he makes top 5, it would be really good. If he gets out of that top 5, people would be like, well, but so there's 3 feelings here. Out of the top 10, huge disappointment. Between 5th and 10th, people would be a little bit, well, it was lackluster. If he gets in the top 5, people will go, okay, that's impressive. This is where, this guy should be for the rest of his career.
It is going to be interesting to see how everybody, of course, it all comes down to how everybody dials in for the big show and how Hani brings him in, how much he maintains. If you come in, he's a couple inches short. What is he, about 5'6", 5'7"?
5'7", I think.
So with Rami's 5'9", coming in around 300 pounds this year. So he's already given up about 30 or 40 pounds realistically by the inch. Nick Walker's going to come in 250, 260 all day at almost the same height. Hadi. I mean, you got a lot of guys carrying a lot of size that they're not, it's that quality that you talk about, this the density of the mass.
Yes, and he does have a lot of density he's been showing. I just see him, I think what's going to help him is the way he's put together. His body is really put together, and I just hope that he comes in with a nice package and posing like a champ.
Well, we'll find this out at the Olympia coming up in just a few weeks, and we'll find out more on Primetime Muscle when we come back after this commercial. But in another division, classic physique, one man has dominated, and that one man is Chris Bumstead. And the question that we bandy around here all the time and across the industry is he the best bodybuilder of all time?
I don't know.
All time?
All time.
All time?
All time of this era.
All time?
Wait a minute.
Let's narrow it down.
All time? Are you on Adderall or something? All time?
I was like, huh?
What? Are you like investing on his supplement company?
Who knows what's in these supplements nowadays? So,
Not even Chris's beautiful girlfriend would say that. Chris is an amazing competitor. He might be the best bodybuilder of this time. All time, he's got to go against Phil Heath. He's got to go against, some of the greatest physiques, Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier. He's got to go against Ronnie Coleman, 2003. I'm going to go as far as to say that this time, in 2021, 2022, he is the most popular. He's the most aesthetic. He's been the most consistent with his conditioning. He's represented the sport in tremendous way. And in my personal opinion, as a fan, I believe he's the best bodybuilder we have.
Yes, Terek's right. I mean, he's done a tremendous job, especially with the fans and the following is you can't deny that. You can't deny it. It's impeccable. And, the look. I was even there when he was about to go to his room, and this is the fact, Jack. He was about to go to his room. He said, we was at the weigh-ins for the Classic. I was there with Ansley.
Breon Ansley, that's your client. That's his name.
And can I talk? And he was like, I'm going to go shave off my mustache. I'm going to go shave my mustache off now. And I was like, if I were you, I would just keep it. He was like, looked at me. I was like, no. I said, dude, if you shave that face, you shave the mustache off, you're going to have a baby face. If you're going to have a baby face, you're not going to stand out on that stage at all. That's going to give you a little bit more standout attitude up there is to have, keep the mustache on. It looks good on you.
Standout? Okay. We all come at this, with the exception of Chris, who's actually a Hall of Fame bodybuilder. The rest of us, whether or not we've competed, you and I both competed, hardcore fans. As a hardcore fan, are you still a fan too?
Did you?
He competed.
I've competed, yes.
I thought you were just like a boy that got on a
Did you just call me a boy?
Yeah, you're a boy. You're a boy.
I will jump on that table and teach you who the boy is right now.
Come with it.
You think you're Tiger Woods with that? I will teach you a lesson right now.
So,
as Charles Barkley would say, we're about to move some furniture.
As fans, we look at these guys and we find physiques that we like, personalities that we like, guys that are just stir up trouble. That horrible, and I'll say it, horrible 70s, 80s porn stash is so beautiful on that statue of a man that it's become iconic. And hundreds of thousands of guys in this generation, between 18 who can grow it and 40 who shouldn't still have it, have that same look right now in every gym across the country.
Yes, you go to Australia, you go to Canada, obviously. A lot of shows you'll see guys trying to mimic his mustache. Also a haircut.
Yeah.
Also a haircut.
He's a style fixture across the globe, and on every stage in classic physique, there's always at least two competitors that are knockoffs of Chris Bumstead.
And he does the thing with the lip, like what does he do with the lip? Go, Chris. He does like something with the lip.
Does he?
Yeah, he does something with the lips. Can you agree with me so I don't look bad on TV?
I don't know. You like his lips for some reason.
I mean, I
don't know what you want to do with that.
I look like the only guy mentioning, and you're not agreeing.
I don't know what you want to do with that.
Go ahead.
He does something like this with his mouth.
Go ahead and say it. You think he's got a pretty mouth?
He does something like this with his mouth or something.
He thinks he's got a pretty mouth.
Like he does something with his mouth. The women love it.
It's a smirk.
It's like kind of a smirk.
It's a smirk.
The women go crazy. They get like tissues and everything.
But looking back at the perfection of that
physique. That's a great lat spread, though.
Looking at that lat spread, looking at that front lat spread, that back double bi, looking at how perfectly he's put together, there's no growth left to be had in this weight class, topping out in his height and weight for classic physique.
How about that look against an open guy? What do you think?
Well, I don't think Chris Bumstead should ever go to open bodybuilding. I think he's making his legacy in classic physique. He's actually making the classic physique category, so popular. He's one of the guys, Breon Ansley, Terrence Ruffin, who's a great poser, Ramon, Urs Kalinske. So I think Chris Bumstead should stay in classic physique. If he went to open, he would be Milos Sarcev. One of those guys that we love. We love the physique. We think he's perfect. We would love to have that body, but he's not able to beat guys that are thicker. Chris Cormier, Ronnie Coleman, denser Sean Ray, massive Dorian Yates, a denser
Flex Wheeler.
Exactly. So I think he should stay in classic. He should win 5-6 titles and then go to the movies. He gets commercials from watches that are not in the bodybuilding industry. This guy has gone mainstream. I had lunch with him about 2 months ago in Florida, and I discovered why Chris is so popular. The reason Chris Bumstead is so popular, so loved by everybody, is because he's actually a shy guy. And in these times where everybody's doing selfies, like, oh, I'm so great, look at me, filters and this and that, Chris is like shy and timid, and the public just wants more of him, more of him. And he doesn't let it out. He's kind of shy. And he's one of the nicest, classiest guys you will ever meet. He's a superb representative. And I can't get him to say one bad thing about his competitors. Chris, can you say one bad thing about Terrence Ruffin? He's a great poser. I really like Terrence. He's my friend. Can you say one bad thing about Breon? I love him. I just think he should have a better coach, but I like him very much.
Damn mouth.
He didn't say that. That came from me. Chris is a nice guy.
I know it comes from you.
And Breon loves his coach. I've talked to Breon about this many times.
Belushi.
So Chris Bumstead, obviously one of the most beloved guys of this era, not of all time necessarily, but he will have his place, undoubtedly, in the history books. And what do you think? 5, 6, 7 titles if he wants. How long is this reign?
I actually think Chris Bumstead will not go for 8 or 10 or 7 or something like this, because I think he's a very cerebral guy. He loves bodybuilding, but I think he's also has other interests. He has his supplement company, he has his apparel company. I think commercially, he's very savvy. He's extremely intelligent. His parents are very, very cerebral people. And I think Chris Bumstead will be one of those guys that in a couple of years we'll say, yeah, we remember him. He was a great bodybuilder. I'm predicting this guy is going to go in a different direction in big ways.
Predictions, Chris?
Yes, I don't think he'll be in his 40s competing, that's for sure. I mean, he was up there 21, 22 years old, at the top of the sport already. So I can't see it being something like that, but great future, gonna have a lot of money. I think those pockets will be fat, and that's what it is. You be the best in the world, and then make those pockets fat, and right off into the sunset.
Well, iconic for sure. This year we've kind of talked about, you talked about Ramon Brandon being a big competitor for him. Breon, you of course have a love for Breon and his possibilities. Are we looking second or third again this year? Where's he going to be?
It all depends on making that weight, and that's the thing. It's a big drop for him. I mean, I think it's a good look for him, even 10 pounds heavier.
Yeah, he's looking huge.
I don't know if they're ever going to do a weight increase. I don't know.
I saw Breon in San Diego a couple weeks ago. He was massive. I mean, he looked huge. And then I saw Terrence in Romania. He looked dense as well.
Terrence looked thick.
These classic physique guys are insanely good. They're so good. I mean, I give them a lot of credit. It's the most talented category we have.
It has become the most popular category at both the NPC shows. It's starting to catch up to and pass the men's physique. And we're going to see it as the most popular category again up against men's open at this year's Olympia.
Yeah, at the convention, you always have the classic physique prejudging at the convention. And that goes crazy, right?
Oh, it's nuts.
And
it's nuts.
If that goes into the big show against the open bodybuilding, you're talking about splitting the popularity. And Chris Bumstead's speech after the show was memorable. That division is clearly becoming one of the most popular categories, and I call it bodybuilding. I call everybody a bodybuilder. I call a wellness competitor a bodybuilder. Is just different criterias, and those guys in that criteria are superseding all our expectations.
Well, we are going to see who supersedes and who wins, and we're going to see if Chris Bumstead continues his reign as champion this year at the Zappos Theatre. Be there live December 15th through the 18th, or via pay-per-view. You can check that out. Any parting words, Chris?
No, I'm just excited to see them all up there. Like I said, the classic division I have great interest in. But the open bodybuilding is going to be exciting. The wellness is going to be exciting. The bikini is going to be exciting. Physique is going to be exciting. Everyone's going to be exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a great Mr. Olympia. I have seen plenty of Mr. Olympias, and I think the new guys like Blessing Awodibu, Andrew Jack, they're going to bring some new excitement to that open bodybuilding. And in the classic physique, I think the competitive environment between Terrence, between Breon, CBum, Ramon, Urs Kalinsky, I think that's going to go on fire. They might not be able to beat CBum. You never know. Terrence might beat CBum. Anybody can beat Chris, if they come in and if Chris is not in top condition. But I believe we're going to have a shakeup on that top 5. I think it's very fluid. I think you possibly have not heard the last of Breon. Breon is kind of a crazy dog, and he might come after everybody. This Ramon guy looks insane. I saw Terrence, so I don't know how it's going to fit. Chris looked awesome too. He might keep that title for a couple of years.
Well, as always, like, share, subscribe, follow, comment, share your thoughts, and tell us who your favorite is. And we will see you next time on Primetime Muscle. I'm Tim Wilkins. Be sure to catch in next Friday.